Welcome to the Cornerstone Church Podcast, conversations and stories of inspiring faith. On today's episode, our host, Pastor Mark Devaney, sits down with Pastor Yvan Pierre. Pastor Yvan is our mission partner at International Christian Development Mission in Haiti. We hope that as you hear his story, you are encouraged and inspired to pursue the story God is writing in your life. Let's listen in.
All right. Hey, Yvonne. It is so good to have you here on the podcast. And I know that your story and your faith are going to inspire and help so many people. And so I just want to jump right in and give you the chance to tell us a little about you and your family and your wife and how long have you guys been married and all of that kind of stuff. So take it away on that.
Wow, so many questions at one time. But I am delighted to be here with you. Especially, there has been a very, very great partnership over the years between your church, Bluffton, Cornerstone, and ICDM. And I'm also very excited to be here and to share with you. Yes, my family, I am married, and my wife's name is Miriam. I am the father of 3 children and 2 daughters and a son. And we have been married for 32 years now.
Wow.
The Lord has blessed us in an amazing way. Miriam, my wife, is in ministry with me, and we're blessed to be together.
Where do your kids currently live?
My children, they are the girls are living in Orlando, and my son is still in college.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So tell me real quick, how did you and Miriam meet?
You really want to know that?
Yes, I want to know that.
I was working for an organization called CAT. They call it Crusade Against Tuberculosis. And I have a background in broadcasting. And as a broadcaster, I have been working for that organization. And my job was the coordinator for the broadcasting program. And Miriam's sister-in-law was actually the secretary, my secretary. And in this case, Miriam came to visit with her sister-in-law, and Miriam was introduced to me.
And the rest is history.
The rest is really history. But what I have done also, I have to say, my dad and myself, we've been very close. Very, very close. When I was a child, my dad became also a child with me. And when I became a young man, he was also a young man with me. So I could not keep my first meeting with Miriam for myself. I saw Miriam, but I also went back and shared it with my dad. And I say, I met somebody. And I would like you to see that young lady. And later on also, my dad came, and my dad really encouraged me. My dad was like, wow, Eva, I talked to Miriam. If you're going to have a wife, a good wife, if you feel in your heart, you really love Miriam, I would really encourage you really to go with Miriam. Now, I know my first love is Jesus, and I love Jesus a lot. I love Jesus. But when I talk about Jesus, you would see me very excited. And when I talk also about Miriam, you would see me extremely excited.
Good.
Thank you.
So you grew up in Haiti. So tell us the story about how you and your family came to faith in Jesus, or even knowing about Jesus.
In 1942, there is finally a missionary who went out to the area where I was born and reached out to my grandparents with the gospel. At that time, my mother was 3 months old. And my grandparents said yes to Jesus. And my mother happened to grow up in a Christian family. And that's mostly how it goes. Then my grandmother started a church. And in that church also, my dad as a teenager has been coming to that church and met my mother. They get married, and I'm from them.
All right.
They also took the task really to raise me in the Word. And at the age of 7, I said yes to Jesus.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
So 1942, a missionary, and that missionary was that missionary from the United States?
From the U.S.
From the U.S.
From the U.S., from a Baptist church.
And so one of the things that I've heard you say through the years is how you describe it as Jesus came for you through your grandparents.
Yes. And the other thing also, I'm a missionary, and I find like it is so fun to be a missionary.
Yeah.
It is so fun to be a missionary. But I'm so grateful. I'm like always having that question. Why would they wait so long when we have had the gospel, for so many years, and from the first century until 1942. Anyway, on 1942, I praise God. They finally got to my grandparents. Yeah. And it has been really a life-changing situation, completely.
So you come to faith in Christ as a 7-year-old.
Yes.
And then tell us how things begin to unfold from there as you go through school and high school and like getting to this place of discerning your calling for ministry and what it is that God has for Yvan.
I was a child saved by the grace of God, but my parents were facing one main big problem. There was no school in the area where I was born. And my parents were very committed to send me to school. I'll tell you this little story where I'm part of a very large family, but when I was born, and right there, my brother was more my siblings, and my grandpa on my dad's side, they realized, he asked my dad, hey, I want to make sure you raise them right, okay? Make sure you send them to school. So he owned a very fertile property, and he gave it to my dad. He said, till it, and make sure you send Yvan and Rosemont to school. My dad took that very, very, very seriously. And as a child, there was no school in our area. What my dad did, they needed to look for the closest city to send us to school. So I needed to leave my parents really quite early so that I would find some education. And as soon as I learned how to read, my mother gave me the best gift ever. My mother bought me a hymnal. She didn't just give it to me, but she taught me all of the songs she knew. And as such, every time I go to church, I like singing a solo. And I can remember as of today, at the age of 16, while I was there with my parents on vacation, on summer vacation, I stood up in the church to sing a solo, but I could not finish. I was weeping. And a little boy like me, we don't cry. We deal with stuff. But I was crying. I was weeping. And all of the people in the church, they asked my parents, hey, what did you do to Yvan? And my parents were like, nothing. And I know they didn't do anything to me. Absolutely nothing. But I was weeping. I've been having that question, why me? I was the only one who was in high school among so many other young people in that area. That broke my heart. I felt sad. But at the same time, while I was singing, I realized the Lord, it was the day that God has called me really to ministry. He broke my heart. So he helped me understand, Yvan, you are in school, but you cannot be in school for yourself. You are in school for your whole community. Mm-hmm. So this is how really I felt that I received my first call to ministry, and I never forgot.
Wow.
I never forgot. So I continued to go on into high school, go through college, and but the first thing I have done, as soon as I start working, I went back to that same community, and I started a school for the children.
Wow. So let's back up for a second, because this is something interesting to me, because my kids, they give me a hard time about school all the time. But the thing that you're saying is that as you're growing up, like, it was a real privilege for somebody to be able to even go to high school.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us
to school period.
To school period.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that. Like, your peers, the kids that you would have grown up with, is that did some of them get to go to school? Did some of them not go to school? Obviously it wasn't available in the area that you grew up. So, like, what's that like even across all of Haiti? There's, millions and millions of people in this country. So is education one of the big problems that's there?
It has been the biggest problem.
Okay.
Because it is one thing, as I mentioned earlier, that Jesus has come to the area, okay, through that missionary. Yes, I have been saved. I said yes to Jesus at the age of 7. And Jesus would want to use me in life. But how would he be able to use me without knowing how to read?
Right.
Without having an education? So it was so very, very, very difficult. But I am glad the Lord made ways for me to really go to school. And then later on now, the best thing, like I said, I understand that I didn't go to school just for myself, but I also went to school for those who could not go to school. So I had the idea I was going to use education to evangelize society.
Yeah.
And this is the reason also. So I have been able to start what we call the Ministry of ICDM, the International Christian Development. Not any kind of Christian, International Christian Development Mission. This is a very specific mission. And when I realized I could not go to school, but also in Haiti in general, children were very, very neglected in terms of education. And in this case, I understand we needed to, I needed to be part of a ministry that would train the next generation. I like to put it, the next generation for God's kingdom. Yeah. If you're going to see any change in society, it's need to go through the children. And also, because a lot of Haitians, they have been practicing voodoo, like my grandparents used to. And it was a very difficult thing, really, for us, for Haitian in general, in terms of their culture. When they believe in something, I'm telling you, they believe in that something. But with ICDM, what I was trying to do in terms of raising the children, so I just went back and start the school, using the school as the model, as a tool, really, to educate to work with the children, to evangelize the entire community. So I started working with the children, and because I work with the children, I also work with parents. And because I work with, we work with children and parents, we work with the entire community. And you see where we have our name. It is International Christian Development Mission. What do we do? What does ICDM do? We do anything that has to do with human development, but with Jesus's perspective.
That's good. Tell us a little bit about Haiti. There's a lot of people that they only know of Haiti through what they hear through the news. So there's a history with Haiti that you've shared with me through the years as we've gotten to know one another. That really speaks to kind of where Haiti got to today and how it got there. So walk us through like how them gaining their independence, hundreds of years ago, what they did as a result of that, and really the challenge that comes because of that.
Haiti acquired its independence in the most amazing way. Haiti has been populated with slaves, and mostly slaves, people that were brought to that land as slave, and later on they refused to live in slavery, so they start fighting so that they would get their independence, and they got their independence from the greatest army of that time, Napoleon Bonaparte, the Napoleon army. So from France, okay. So they revolted against French, and they proclaimed their independence in 1804. But even before they proclaimed that independence, Haitian people are very religious, and they believe a lot in the higher power. So in this case, they have been practicing what they call voodoo, and they call on the spirit of voodoo to help them really to get their freedom.
Okay.
So they didn't. From my perspective, a lot of us, it's like they thought it's like they get their independence because of the voodoo power. But for me, who is a believer, I know it is by the grace of God that we've had our freedom. But you would see God has used the Haitian people to help so many other countries, because Haiti was the first country, they got their independence, but they also were very serious about it. If anyone can try to get to Haiti, they don't need to know wherever you are from. If you can find yourself on the soil of Haiti, so you are free. And that's why from that time we've been having all kind of nations. Haitian also help even the USA, fighting. And most of the countries and around us, really, we've helped them fight. When you talk about Wilberforce, even in England, so Haiti was the first one really to revolt against slavery and try to bring freedom. But we missed something. We thought it was all about the voodoo. We ignored God. But God has not abandoned us. You would realize, for example, even in my case, for over 30 years now, the Lord has helped us to create such a great tool, and we call it the International Christian Development Mission. And the International Christian Development Mission, we are there to educate, to equip, and to empower the next generation, so that Haiti can become what God wants it to become.
Yeah, so it's interesting because through the years, you've talked about how through ICDM, you believe God's using that ministry, and of course there's a lot of other ministries in Haiti as well, but how Haiti is being changed from the inside out.
Yes.
Because when you've talked in the past about the independence that Haiti gained in 1804,
yes,
that one of the first things that your forefathers did was what? You've mentioned this before to me. They committed the country to the devil.
Yes, that's what they did.
Right.
They a few years before 1804, they really organized a big ceremony, and in that big ceremony, they sacrificed a pig and shed blood to get their independence. Anyway, about like 13 years later, after that sacrifice, they kept fighting, but they really won their independence.
Yeah.
To me, they have kind of mistakenly think they were really helped by the voodoo spirit, by the devil.
Right.
But for me, knowing it as I know it today, we've been looking for someone we didn't know.
Yeah.
We didn't know God, the only God we should be serving. We didn't know Him.
So yeah, you're talking like religious people believe in some form of higher power.
Yes.
And they're attributing that to the voodoo power.
Yeah. Yes.
Committing their country to the devil. Here you are, 1942.
Yes.
Jesus comes for you and your family.
Yes.
Out of that comes the International Christian Development Mission.
Yes.
What part of Haiti do you serve in right now?
It is just amazing. Let me tell you, we find ourselves, we have 10 states in Haiti, and we find ourselves right now in all of them.
Okay.
We have our presence in all of them. Now, let me remind you that ICDM is a very specific mission working in Haiti. In Haiti, we have been having lots of churches. We have lots of some of the mainline denominations. But Haiti means land of mountains. And all over the mountains, you find people that believe that God has called them to ministry, but a lot of them, they never got the opportunity, like me and you, to go to seminary, to go to a good Bible school, or to have a church like a Cornerstone here, where they would come and be trained in the Word. So in Haiti, people did not have that opportunity. And the reason also ICDM is non-denominational, it's exactly for this purpose. ICDM wants to be a place where non-denominational, where all people can come. I like to put it this way, and let Jesus be Jesus. Come and be trained, no string attached. The only thing is like you love the Lord, but you got to come, and we offer people free training. So the reason also behind that, you remember, it's like when you talk about Jesus would say for people, hey, if they are not against me, so they are for me. A lot of those people on the mountains and find themselves everywhere have been trying to do church, but they have not been preaching sound doctrine. So what ICDM does, we open doors to everybody so that they can come and be educated. You remember what I'm saying because you know what I'm talking about,
Yes.
because you have been in so many different ways, so many times there to help us to support with our training. So we have been engaged really in educating the children, equipping the leaders, the saints, and empower them so that they can serve God where He has called them to serve. You see, where does ICDM
Yeah.
start?
So where did ICDM start? Tell us a little bit of that story.
You may remember I told you that ICDM, first of all, the whole idea behind it, I went to school to get an education, but I understood as a teenager that I could not go to school only for myself. So I went to school for all those of my generations who could not go to school. It was my task to go back and share the education that I have received. And the Lord helped me, and I have been faithful. As soon as I graduated high school and college, and later on, as a professional, I started working. The first really paycheck I had, I didn't buy my mother what I supposed to buy her as a gift, and she's been very supportive also to me in ministry. But I took those funds and went back to where I was born and started the ministry. We started by founding a school, and this school itself, that was really the beginning of what is going to be today known as the ministry of ICDM. We started with a few children, and today we are serving in that school over 800 children, and all of those we started the school with right now. They are back in working in that community. Yes.
So the school gets started. You got a few students. Where did they meet when you first started?
Under a mango tree. Whoever is interested, it's like sometime when you visit our website, you can see in some of our videos, we started right there under a mango tree. When we needed to start, it was something else. Sometimes I'm questioning myself if, let's say, I were to start today, would I have the faith to start it the way we started? Because it was so crazy. You invite everybody and say, hey, we're going to have school. Where? Okay, we rent a small room from somebody as the administration, and we have a big mango tree. We just organize something and then bring the children right under that mango tree and started the school. But the Lord bless the initiative, because it is not something I have done myself.
Yeah.
He is the one that has called me to do it, and He has been bringing more people, but also bringing the increase so that we would be where we are today.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I think a lot of times we get, I use the phrase paralysis by analysis, right? Like we wind up not doing anything because it's not perfect, or we can't figure out how to do it perfectly. But here you are, there's no building, you're renting a room for just an office, so to speak. You start having school under a mango tree. This is 30 years ago, a little more than 30 years ago, I think.
From October 1989.
Yeah,
so it's going to be 33.
Yep. So now I've been there, so it's up the road from where you currently meet.
Yes.
So how did you get to the place where you currently are with ICDM and the school that's in that part of Haiti? I spent the first 3 years in ministry where I made a few mistakes. By nature,
I am a very, very responsible person. I'm always trying to avoid not to burden anybody. I know I was getting into a very difficult mission, but I didn't want to burden anybody else with it. So I spent the first 3 years struggling and doing what I was supposed to be doing. This school was doing well, but I didn't really talk about the school that much. Because
and you're funding this out of your pocket, essentially. You're working,
yes,
and you're paying for this ministry in Haiti to get going.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, because I realized that was my job.
Right.
That was what God asked me to do. And at some point over about 3 years, I feel it was such a burden. And then the Spirit of the Lord came upon me, and let me realize, hey, Yvan, you don't get it. What? I'm trying to do everything that I'm trying to do. Hey, I don't get it. No, you don't get it. You don't get it. I am calling you to do this. But I want you to be telling people what I am doing, what God is doing, or what God wants to do through the ministry of ICDM. From that time on, I realized, hey, the Lord has spoken. And whenever the Lord says something to me, I praise Him, because I've been very, very sensitive, very open to the saying of the Lord to do exactly what He wants me to do. So from that time on, I started really talking about the ministry ICDM. I started sharing, telling people the plan. I understood also when God calls, you need to answer the calls individually. That is very, very, very important. You answer individually. But the next thing, if your ministry, if any ministry is of God, you need to be waiting and also actively looking for your partners. And this is how, from that time, I started actively sharing with people what I see God is doing through ICDM, and share the plan that I see or the vision that I see for the ministry in general. And from that time, I've been having really people to come on board.
Awesome.
And even with yourself, how the Lord has been bringing this church on board. It is such in an amazing way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's been great to be a part of it and see the ministry firsthand, as I've been down there a couple of times. So tell us a little bit about what are the most challenging things that you guys are facing today as a ministry.
Wow. The challenges have been always, we rarely call them challenges. But it is, from the beginning, it has been a very challenging ministry. Some of the big one right now, we're looking at making sure the longer the students stay with us, the better they do in life. And in this case, we've been running our school all the way from pre-K to 9th grade. But for several years now, we've been adding the high school. And it is very important for us not just to have sponsors, to have the means so we can really complete this school year, but we are also looking at opportunities where we can lay a better foundation before I really get to retire, so the ministry itself can keep on going. So this is one of the main challenge. We are also working to see how we can transform our clinic. Okay, we have a medical clinic. The medical clinic in that area, in the immediate area there are 84,000 people living in that area. And what we are trying to do now, since there's no hospital, we are trying to transform this as a better place, as a mini hospital where people can come really to get the best care they can get.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the ministry. You have the school. You do some training for pastors. Tell us a little bit about like other things that you are involved in with ICDM.
Yes, ICDM exists as a mission organizations to equip people so that they can better serve people where God has called them. And in this case, that why we are very strong on training people, and we do this through what we call our mobile Bible schools. Our mobile Bible school, this is where we go to a lot of those churches I mentioned earlier, who are spreading all over Haiti, the mountains of Haiti. We go to those people, we train the leaders, and then we provide them with a Bible school where they are. And the Bible schools, this has been such a great ministry, but we go a step further. We also have what we call the School of Evangelism. In Haiti, for myself, I had my master in world mission and evangelism, and the Lord led ICDM, led me through ICDM to have also started the first school of evangelism in the country of Haiti. We used to have a few seminaries, we used to have some Bible schools, but never have a school of evangelism. But in 2006, we've been able to start really with the school of evangelism, and right now we have two schools of evangelism in two different states. Hopefully we can add some more, but this is through this kind of ministry we continue to really serve our community. We also believe in the fact that we helping people, we feeding the children, we feeding people, but what we really out to do is to give people, not to just give people a fish, but to train them how to fish for themselves. And that's why we do some agriculture. Okay, we try to have also a trade school and so on. Okay, where we continue really to serve the entire nation.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's so good. So you're a leader of leaders, is how I've gotten to know you. I see how you're leading those that are leading your ministry. How are you in your life cultivating your relationship with Jesus? What are the things that are really important to you to stay in rhythm with what he's teaching you, with staying in step with how he's leading you and guiding you and directing you? So tell us a little bit about that.
This is so true. From the beginning, one favor I have received from the Lord is that I knew exactly my job with the ministry. The Lord has made me a trainer of trainers. A trainer of trainers. 2 Timothy 2:2. It has been finding out faithful and able people where we can invest ourselves. My heart really is about making disciples who would be faithful. And that's really what I have been doing, really. Be a trainer of trainers. Now, how do I continue myself to do well in ministry? Because I am not in ministry by myself. I have a group of people. Some of them are just my mentor, but a group of people to whom I report to. Every year, even if I'm leading ICDM, but I have a group of established people that I need to send a report to. If I have any problems, if I have anything, people who are praying for me, people who really keep me accountable. So I believe we need to be serving God individually. That is so important, but also we need to be serving God in group, in groups. And God has given me a good group of people, not just myself. I'm a good reader. I like reading and continue to read the Bible as the main book, but continue to educate myself and continue to do well in ministry. I depend on a lot of other people that God has bring into my inner circle so that I can be where I am today.
Yeah. So I look back and I've known you for about 5 years, and I know you were moving towards your 30-year anniversary for ministry back when I believe COVID hit, or right before COVID hit, and you're at about 33 years at this point for ministry.
Yes,
which has been incredible. Right now, there's a school there that has 800 plus children. There's many leaders that are a part of that school. You've impacted many lives as a result of just your faithfulness to what God called you to.
Yes.
So as we just kind of wrap up our time, I just want to give you an opportunity to share with people just maybe a thought, something that would inspire them to live their life purposefully for what God has called them to, or what God has laid on their heart. So just an opportunity for you to, whatever it is that you'd want to say to people that are kind of struggling right now in terms of, man, I'm trying to figure this thing out, but you've invested 30 plus years of your life and made a huge difference. I know you've made a huge difference in my life in the short time that I've known you. So what would you say to those that are listening?
First of all, I want to encourage myself and everyone else to respond to God's call. My life started really to make sense when I said yes to Jesus. And in terms of where we are today, the ministry is continue to expand. For example, we're not just working in Haiti. Now we are actively working in the Dominican Republic. And in the Dominican Republic, it is not a place where I only decided it was just a good thing to work there, but people who graduated from our Bible school, people who graduated from our School of Evangelism, over 10 years ago, they were sent to work in the Dominican Republic, and they started really to do very, very well. And Pastor Mark, you remember you were there with us in the Dominican Republic and serving. And the ministry of ICDM is really needed there. I am looking for the opportunity. We have great needs for people to come so that the same work we have been doing in Haiti, it is also happening in the Dominican Republic. As a faith-based ministry, we need human resources, and we also need financial resources. We have trained so far so many people who are ready to go and who are willing to continue to help us to expand. But we need your prayers and we need your financial support.
Yes. Yeah. That's great. It's so good to hear your story. I've thoroughly enjoyed just our time together, and just in your words that you've said to me many times, and even to Cornerstone Church, I think as we continue to say yes to Jesus and the things that he has for us, we have the opportunity to make Jesus way more famous.
That's why we are here.
And I love the way that you say that. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so very much because you thought really to invite me to speak to Cornerstone audience. And this is, Cornerstone is my church away from home. And I don't know, if I were to live in this area, I'm a member already. And thank you so much. I have learned to love this church, and it is amazing. You would not think how many people also right here from this church loved me.
Yeah.
Please continue to love on ICDM, continue to love me, and let's keep making Jesus Christ way more famous. And remember, no excuse. No excuse. If you are still alive, wherever you are in your life cycle, okay? If you are here, the Lord wants to use you. And continue to be a blessing to the ministry of Cornerstone, and also to all of those missionaries that Cornerstone is serving all over the world. Cornerstone, you are doing great. And Pastor Mark, thank you so much for your leadership. When I've come to know you, you are also an inspiration to me. You are an inspiration to me. You always, like me, speak from your heart. And if you say something, you follow up. You are such a great example to me also in ministry. And thank you for the way you continue to engage so many young people. You invite them to come, and thank you for the way you are really ministering to people. May the Lord continue to bless all of us as, by God's grace, we are making Jesus way more famous. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.